Everybody, and welcome back to Dusty Book Sniffers. My name's Nicole, and today we are here for the Women's Prize for Fiction Longlist 2025 and what I'm thinking about this list. So let's get started. Morning or good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I give you my feelings, my initial feelings on the 2025 Women's Prize for Fiction long list that has just been announced in the last 24 hours. So I am not too sure how I feel about this long list, and yeah, so I'm just going to get into it. It's probably not going to be very coherent because I've been thinking about this since last night. Originally, I was going to be doing a reaction video at the time, but things got away. There's a weather event happening here in our country right now, and I had to prepare for that. So I didn't have the opportunity to do that. And so, so I watched the video, watched the announcement list, wrote all the books down, realized I hadn't heard of any of them, and I've obviously been living under a rock for the last 12 months. There was a few that I have heard some of my favorite booktubers talk about. Safekeep was one of them. Nesting, which I have actually read. So I've only read one out of the whole list. And there was Ministry of Time I've seen a few people talk about and stuff like that. But overall, I have not heard of any of these authors. I believe there is 2 debut novels on it. I haven't really gone and looked at what they're about or anything. I've sort of given a quick glance over the synopsis, trying to decide where I was going to start and all that sort of stuff. So my overall thoughts on the long list is I'm excited. There's a lot of authors I haven't heard about. There's quite a number of historical fiction and multi-generational and debut novels that are on the list, so that excites me. I'm excited because I've not heard of a lot of these authors before. Do I own any? The only one that I have is Nesting, but I will acquire the rest very shortly. So overall I'm quite excited for it. Nothing is really standing, like I know that Chris and I and a few other people joke about some of the books that I don't like in the Women's Prize lists and stuff like that, but there's nothing really jumping out at me at this time. Probably my least one that I'm excited for is would be the Elizabeth Strout one. I have not read anything of hers, but when I've heard people talk about her in the past, I just don't get that I feel like there's a lot of people that don't like her, but equally at the same time there's a lot of people that do like her. So it's sort of a mixed bag, and it's really hard to gauge it. So this will be the first time I've ever read Elizabeth Strout, so it's exciting in that way, but I'm also not super excited because of some of the people that I watch don't really like her as well. So that's sort of where I'm at the moment. And I'm excited because I can't actually decide where I want to start with the Women's Prize list. So that's exciting to me because there's so many choices there, and there's so many good choices from what just the brief skimming of the synopses, because I don't like to read the synopses. I like to go into them into the books blind and just really give you my raw and honest opinion about the book and all that sort of stuff. So in saying that, like, as I said, there's so many books on there that I can't decide which one to start with. So that's exciting to me, which means that I'm going to get a whole new repertoire of authors to look at a little bit further. Obviously, we'll have there's some debut novels in there as well. I think there's 2 debut novels. There might be more. I'll have to fact check that. But you'll get to hear my thoughts on those as the month proceeds. Now, this year, I'm doing it a little bit different, because we've got a shorter time frame, and so I'm just going to be reading the books, and I'm just going to review them and put them out one by one. So you'll get to see 16 reviews this month from me. So the surprising ones that went on, I've just got some notes down here. The surprising omissions from the list, which I was really surprised about, was Elif Shafak, because everybody myself, I've read that. That wasn't on there. I was hoping it was going to be on there because I wanted to reread it again very soon after I just finished, because I think I finished that around the middle of February. And I was excited that may be on the list again. I think it was in a lot of people that I watched. A lot of people predicted that one to be on the list. So I was quite surprised when that did not come up. And the other surprising one to me was two authors that I've heard lots of people talk about. They've been on the list before. They've been longlisted before and also shortlisted. And that was Ali Smith, Sally Rooney, and Emma Donoghue. Those three authors that weren't on there. I was quite surprised that they weren't on there. Mostly Elif Shafak, the new release from her, and also the GIF. Is it called GIF by Ali Smith? I was surprised not to see that on there. But at the same time, while I was surprised that they're not on there, I'm excited because all these other books on there are on there. So, as I said, I have read Nesting. I predicted, between Chris and I, we predicted two. That was Dream Hotel and Nesting are both on the list, and they were on, and I say Chris, I include Chris in this because Chris was very helpful with guiding me towards books and all that sort of stuff that I probably wouldn't have come across in the past 12 months. So for those that don't know what the Women's Prize for Fiction is, it is a UK prize for women only. They must be written in English and published in the last 12 months. And that 12-month period is from the 1st of April 2024 to the 31st of March 2025. Now, I believe all the books are out that I could see. I think that there was one that's coming out. Well, it should be out now because it was coming out on the 4th. But I'll have to double check that because I have a list on Amazon and that will tell me. Somewhere else also made it. That's going to be a bit of a struggle for me to find. It'll be one that it only comes in paperback or audio. So I have to check if it is available here in Australia first. So I am going to endeavour to read all 16, but in the past I have run into problems where I have not been able to find the books here in Australia. So, but I have it on good authority that somewhere else may be on Everand for me. So I'm going to go and check that out because it's only available in paperback. It's not going to get to me in the 4 weeks, but it is available on audio. So I think it is actually on Audible here, but I haven't double checked that yet. It's been all over the place. So as I said, 2 of the books I already own, and I got them through NetGalley. So I have the arc of those. I've read Nesting, and Dream Hotel was next on the list to read. So I will probably, I will get into that as soon as it rolls up. So because I can't decide how I'm going to play it this year, is I'm going to I've got all of the books now listed on a spinner wheel, and I am going to basically spin the wheel, and that's going to dictate which books I'm going to read. All right, so that's how it's going to go, and you're going to get single videos, and I'm going to get them up as soon as I'm finished them. So you'll probably get a book every second day, roughly. Some of these books are a little bit on the larger side. There's a couple of smaller ones as well. So I don't know, because normally what I do is I put them in my most anticipated to my least anticipated. We know what my least anticipated one is, and that is Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout. I do have my notes in front of me. And I do have Amazon opened up, so I am going to just run through. I'm not going to go into what they are. I'm just going to read the list. I am not going to say the authors' names because some of the authors' names are a little bit of a mouthful. So I will have the book covers up on the screen and you'll be able to see them there. As the videos progress throughout the month, I will endeavour to say their names and everything. But for today, because it'll slow things down, I'm just going to name the book and put the cover up. So the official long list is A Good Girl, which I went and had a look at this one, and this one I think I'm really excited for. I have actually seen this popping up across all my apps and everything like that. This one I can actually say the name, Aria Aber is the name of the author for this one, and this is actually a debut novel, I believe. But it has been popping up quite a bit as recommendations. I went to have a look on Libby. I could not find it there here in Australia, so I don't know where I'm going to go to get this one. Probably Kindle. It'll depend on time and where it falls in the spinning of the wheel and all that sort of stuff. The next one that made it onto the list is Dream Count. I am not even going to try and say this name, but you can see it there. This one, I believe, is... let me just bring it up. It is... yes. Okay, so I was just trying to remember the name of their book. So Dream Count is by the best-selling author and award-winning author of Americana and We Should All Be Feminists. This one is being touted as a feminist war and peace novel. So that's where I'm going to leave it because I don't really want to go into it. So I'm super excited for that one. And yeah, the other one that I'm actually really excited for, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this one, is The Ministry of Time. And this one, I believe, is a little bit futuristic. I believe it falls... I could be wrong. Let me just see what it falls under. I'm just bringing it up here. Travel romance, science fiction. So I believe it's time travel. As I said, I'm trying to go into them as blind as possible. It's coming in at 354 pages. 353 pages. It's being touted as addictive. Crack this book open and you will see time disappear, and readers may envy you. There is a smart, witty novel in your future. So that one sounds exciting. We've talked about Somewhere Else by Jenny Dutchies. This one, as I said, is only available on audio and also in paperback, and that's the only way I can get it. We also have Armor. I haven't heard of this one before at all. Let me just get back to this. Armor is a new author to me. I've never even heard of this author before, and I'm not 100% sure what this one is about. But it has had a few people talking about it. It's set in 3 different timelines. I believe there's 3 different women that we're following, and it's set in Singapore, New Zealand, and also in London. So in 1951 Singapore, 1984 New Zealand, and 2018 in London. We've got 3 timelines. I believe this is multi-generational, and it's basically people are saying that they couldn't put it down. They absolutely loved it. The next one that we're going to look at is Crooked Seeds by Karen Jennings. I do have my notes in front of me, so I do apologize. This one I'm not, I believe this one is also possibly multiple generations as well, and historical fiction. This is by a South African writer, and they have had books out before. Oh, this one I was actually really interested about. This one, the main female character is pulled in for questioning by the police about her brother, who in the 90s had had dealings with a pro-apartheid group and terrorists. And basically, she's pulled in for questioning, and then the story unfolds from there. So I thought that this one sounded very interesting, and I'm like, ooh. And I have never heard of this author either, which is quite amazing. You know, considering how much I do read, it just shows you how many authors are out there and how many people that you can discover. And that's why I like these lists in a way, because we get a lot of those ones. The next one is All Falls by Miranda July. I have not heard of this author before, and I have seen this book popping up from time to time. The Persians is following 4 women, and this one is a debut novel, I believe, and this one is covering, I believe it's covering quite a number of generations. It's a debut novel, I think I already said that. And it's following 5 women across 3 generations. I thought that was a multi-generation one. Nesting is the one that I have actually already read, but I am going to revisit it. I never talked about it on my channel, and I'm going to revisit it because I feel like I can dive a little bit deeper into that one, having already read it. So that one is by Rosine O'Donnell, and it is a debut novel as well. I read this back in January and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And this is actually looking at domestic violence and what people have to go through and what the ramifications are of leaving a domestic violence situation, whether it be emotional abuse, physical abuse, whatever. And it's also set against the backdrop of Dublin's housing crisis. So, and just the bureaucracy that goes with, you know, that runs in the background of these sort of things, you know, all the brick walls that you run up against trying to get away, trying to make a better life for yourself and all that sort of stuff. So that one I'm excited to revisit again. Now, Dream Hotel, I believe this is looking at the judges were saying that this was a book that was looking at the algorithms and how our society are built around them and all that sort of stuff. And that's all I'm going to leave it that one. It sounds very close to home because, like, you know, at the moment our lives do run a little bit. So I'm excited to see that. I tried not to listen too much to what the judges were saying about the books because I didn't want that to sway my opinion or anything. I want to go into these as blind as possible. The next one is A Little Bit of Trickery. Rosanna Pike is the author of that. I have not heard of this one before. And let me just bring up the information. This one is a crisp, transportive, uplifting, and fresh. And that was the little blurb from the author of Lessons in Chemistry. I'm going to leave it at that. This one's coming at $3.72, so a little bit on the chunky side. But yeah, I have not heard of this author before or even heard of this. The Safekeep, a lot of people have talked about, a lot of my favorite YouTubers, booktubers have talked about this book, had it on their predictions list. I tried to not listen to them, and I subsequently have, when I've seen it on the prediction list, I tried to put the information out of my mind. So I'm going to say that I actually don't really know what this one is about, but I will bring it up. It was also shortlisted on the Booker as well. So if you've been around for a while, you know that sometimes we get a Booker prize book that's been shortlisted on the long list. So it was, a lot of people were putting that on their list because of that reason. This is a tale of twisted desires, histories, and homes, and the unexpected shape of revenge. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just reading the highlighted bits of it because I think that they sum them up really well. So I'm super excited about that because a lot of people that I follow actually have read it and talked about it and really liked it. So I'm excited to actually read that one. The next one is by Lucy Steeds, and this one is called The Artist. Never even heard of it. Never even heard of the author, never heard of the book. And I believe this is where let me just have a look. It's a debut novel as well. And I'm just having a look because it has a few things here. It's evocative, it's enthralling. It's set in 1920, so it's a historical fiction. I love historical fictions. And Eddie moves through the remote farmhouse silently, creating the conditions that make her uncle's artistic genius possible. Joseph is an aspiring journalist and has been invited to the house. He believes he will make his name by interviewing the reclusive painter. And I'm just going to leave it there. And because you are going to get in-depth reviews on this. Birding by Rose Rowan. Sorry. This I believe is set in the 60s, and it's sort of like a bit of a coming of age story from what I've heard about it, because I have heard a few people. It's quite funny because when I put these on the list last night, I had nothing about women's price, and it's on Amazon. It's been updated very, very quickly. This is a beautiful book full of stark truths. It's lyrical, evocative, and highly recommended. Beautifully written. It's a small town. Autumn is edging into winter, And yeah, and that's all and that's all I'm going to. Oh, it's set in the 90s. I thought it was set in the 60s. I don't know why. In the 90s, Lydia was a teen pop star and posed half naked on billboards everywhere. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, fundamentally, I've never heard of this. I have no idea what it's about, but I've just pulled up the thing, and the first line says, "By normal, you mean like you, a slag with a savior complex." I'm intrigued. Colour me intrigued by this one. This is following the main protagonist. She is an academic who's been disowned by her mother and dumped by her lover, Rosie, and she decides to make a getaway, accepting a job at the UN job in Iraq. Tasked with rehabilitating an ISIS woman, Nadia becomes yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. So that sounds really interesting. So yeah. And of course, my least favorite one is Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout. As I said, have not read anything by this author before. I don't even know what this one is about. It's autumn in Maine. The town lawyer, Bob Burgess, has become enmeshed in an unfolding murder investigation. So it sounds like a bit of a murder mystery happening there. So my task now is to go and put all these books on a spinning wheel and then find them somewhere on the interwebs and get stuck into reading. But as I said, that was they're all the books that are on it. That was my initial reaction. So I'm excited for all the debut novels. I'm excited that there's historical fictions on there. I'm excited that there is multiple generation books on there. These are all my jam. I love a good debut novel. I've found some amazing authors through their debuts off the prize lists and all that sort of stuff. So as I said, what you can expect from me is a video every couple of days of me talking about a singular book that I have read. I'm now off to go and try and track all these books down, and so it doesn't cost me a small fortune, but I do have the money there to buy them all. So I've been saving for it all year and so I will be excited to get into all of these. But I just like to say thank you so much for all the support for my predictions video. It was a lot of fun doing that. I hope that a lot of you stick around for the month and see what all these books are about. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts were on the Women's Prize for Fiction 2025. Whether you're going to be reading any, have you heard of any of these books? Let's get a conversation started down below. And while you're down there, hop, skip and a jump over to the like button, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring to all notifications. And if you want even more from me, come on over to our Patreon and check out what we've got on offer over there. And of course, I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.